Good afternoon, Marion County. I'm Chad Mattingly. I'm your county clerk, and I'm here today not to talk about vehicle registration or vehicle titling, or I'm not here to talk about elections or voter registration or deeds and mortgages or any other land record. I'm not here to talk about marriage licenses or delinquent taxes or notary bonds or any of the many things we do here at the county clerk office. I'm here to talk to you today about driver's licensing. And you're thinking to yourself, Chad, what do you have to do with driver's license? And to that, you would be absolutely correct because historically, the county clerk office has nothing to do with driver's licensing. Historically, it was the circuit clerk that issued driver's licenses and the county clerk that did license plates. That's a good way to think about it. Different clerks, different duties. Now, that all changed about 3 or 4 years ago when the circuit clerks started to focus solely on the judicial branch aspect of their duties, the circuit court and the district court, and all of the everything that takes place with that. I can't imagine what they have to go through on the court system. And the driver's license portion went to the state, which has the responsibility of issuing driver's licenses and identification cards and complying with the federal laws and all the state laws that has to do with that. So driver's licensing was taken out of the circuit clerk's office and into these regional offices throughout the state. And I can't imagine the logistical issues that the transportation cabinet had creating these regional offices. They had to find the office space all through in counties throughout the state. They had to staff those offices. They had to get the equipment and set up the processes in each of those offices. The transportation cabinet was starting something from scratch. And along the way, the General Assembly added more duties to these regional offices. Each person had to get a vision testing. Vision testing was required. And then the number of people that were eligible for a license was expanded when the permit age went from 16 to 15. So along the way, while these regional offices are being established, the goalpost is being moved down the field on them, and it's been a challenge, and it's had a varying level of success. Some would say that it's been, a real mess. With the Real ID deadline coming up, this past year was a challenge for the Transportation Cabinet and these regional offices. So the General Assembly has been thinking of ways to improve upon the decision they made when they took it out of the circuit clerk's offices and away from AOC and started these regional offices. And there's legislation in the General Assembly this session and last session and the session before that on improving the driver's licensing system in Kentucky. I've got on the screen there two of the more two of the more high-profile legislation bills that have been introduced this session. I don't know who created this graphic. Another clerk sent it to me. I wished I knew who created this graphic because I'd love to give them credit because it does show the difference and the pros and the cons of both House Bill 162, which was introduced by Savannah Maddox, Representative Savannah Maddox, and her co-sponsors in the House, and Senate Bill 7, which was introduced by Senator Aaron Reed and his co-sponsors in the Senate. My understanding is House Bill 162 would scrap the current system and send driver's licensing back to the circuit clerk's offices, which has its supporters and has its detractors because, the circuit clerk office has changed since the last time there was any driver's licenses issued there. In Marion County, the last circuit clerk to be in office when a driver's license was issued was Kim May. There's been two circuit clerks since then. Lindsey Strong and Tammy Edlin were not the circuit clerk the last time a driver's license was issued. Neither one had a driver's license issued while they were in office or been in office. So there's been a lot of water under the bridge since the regional offices have been set up and circuit clerk offices have changed. So it wouldn't be just as easy as All right, open the doors back up and let's start issuing licenses again. It would be another logistical undertaking for the transportation cabinet to move everything back to the circuit clerk office. So that's in the House. In the Senate, Senate Bill 7 has passed the Senate almost unanimously. It would, as I describe it there, Senate Bill 7 would create a non-uniform hodgepodge of limited and more expensive services in one of 4 different local offices in up to 86 counties. And as that comes out of my mouth, I think that you're probably thinking, that sounds kind of confusing, Chad, and you would be absolutely right. Because let's read it again. Senate Bill 7 would create a non-uniform hodgepodge of limited and more expensive services in one of 4 different local offices in up to 86 counties. Chad, you can't be representing that bill right. You must be thinking, you've got to be telling me something wrong. There's no way that bill's that confusing. Well, for clarification, to make sure that I'm not misrepresenting it, let's read Senate Bill 7's description in their own words. Senate Bill 7, this is from the LRC website. This is verbatim from the LRC website, what I'll read for you. We're going to take it piece by piece. Create a new section of KRS Chapter 186 to define local official. This bill defines local official as 4 different offices: the county clerk office, the circuit clerk office, the county judge executive office, and the sheriff office, all of which could be part of this bill, those 4 offices. And what would those 4 offices be tasked with? It would require the transportation cabinet to expand issuance of renewal and duplicate operators licenses and personal identification cards in any county in which a permanent regional licensing office is not located, by establishing a system between the transportation cabinet and a local official to issue renewal and duplicate operators licenses and personal identification cards for a $25 convenience fee in addition to any other applicable laws. So let's look at examples. This would not pertain to Nelson County and Boyle County, 2 of our neighboring counties. We've got 4 other counties around Marion County that it would pertain to. In Washington County, it could be the county judge executive office. In Taylor County, it could be the circuit clerk office. In LaRue County, it could be the sheriff office. In Casey County, maybe they don't have any place that can house, or they don't have the space or the staff in any of those 4 offices to take it on. And in Marion County, it could be in the county clerk office. So out of those 5 counties, it could be in 5 different arrangements. Now, it doesn't affect Boyle County and Nelson County because they have regional offices. Where would you go if you lived in Boyle County or Nelson County? You'd go to the regional offices where you would go. And if you came to Marion County, let's say we do it here at the county clerk office. What would you be able to get done here? If you came in and you said, Chad, I need to work on my CDL, I'd say, sorry, that needs to go to the regional office. Chad, my child is ready for their permit. I'm sorry, that would have to go to the regional office. Well, my other child just got done with their permit. They're ready for their intermediate license. I'm sorry, that would have to go to the regional office. Well, they just finished with their intermediate license. Now they're ready for their regular license. I'm sorry, that would have to go to the regional office. Chad, well, I'm getting ready to fly. I need to, go from a regular license to a real ID. I'm sorry, that would have to go to a regional office. Chad, is there anything that you can do for us? Well, there are some things. If you just need a simple renewal or a duplicate, yes, we can do that for you. That's about 40% of the people that would come through the door would need one of those things. And if we were able to do that for you, we would need to charge you $25 more than what you could get that done for in Boyle County or in Nelson County. You could go to the regional office and get it done $25 cheaper. So for most of the things, I'm sending you to the regional office. But for the things I can do for you, I need to upcharge you $25. But if you live in Nelson County, or Boyle County, you can get those services that I would be charging you an upcharge for the same price as the state regular fee. No upcharge for you if you live in Nelson County. No upcharge for you if you live in Boyle County. But if you live in any of the other counties, there would be an upcharge. So it's let's see if I'm misrepresenting this. Would create a non-uniform. It's non-uniform because in one county it could be the county clerk office, in one county it could be the county judge office, in one county it just might not happen. In one county it could be in the circuit clerk office, one county it could be in the sheriff office. Who knows what office it's going to be in? It's a non-uniform hodgepodge of limited, because most of the things that you come in to do, I'm sending you to a regional office for anyway, and more expensive. The things that I can do for you is going to cost you more than it would cost you if you happened to live in a county that had a regional office. And that's going to affect 86 counties. So 86 counties could start this program, could need the equipment, could go through the expense of having the equipment. Even though we can't do much for you, it would still require the equipment to do what we could do. It would still require the expense of setting up the office. So up to 86 counties would have to be set up. And now it does allow, and this is something that this law allows that other laws haven't before. It allows for counties to enter into an interlocal agreement. So we were talking about, and I said Casey County earlier, but it could be us. You know, we might not have the space or the staff to handle the extra load that driver's licensing. You know, even if we can't do nothing for you, it takes somebody to look at what you have and say, sorry, that's going to have to go to the regional office. Somebody's going to have to take the time to discern whether or not we can help you, and if we can help you, to help you, and what to do if we can't help you. Where do we need to send you? So there's going to have to be staff, and that person is going to need to be paid. So some counties might not have the space or the staff to get into this system. It does allow the county judges in counties, in neighboring counties, to enter into an interlocal agreement to where the neighboring county could do the limited and more expensive services. So that's different. They amend the KRS 186-531 to remove the 4-year identity document option. My understanding is that that would do away with a 4-year license. I've got an 8-year real ID. I got it in Danville, is where I got mine at. I waited about 30 minutes, got in, got it done. It would do away with the 4 years. So everybody would go to an 8-year license, whether it's a regular license or a real ID. None of them would renew in 4 years. That's my understanding. And again, I could be wrong about any of this. And if this was passed, which it has passed out of the Senate almost unanimously, it would go into effect next July 2027. Not this July, but July 1st of 2027. Here's what I don't know. I talked about how it was passed almost unanimously. Less than a year ago, Senate Bill 43 was passed and signed into law. And it passed unanimously, not once, but twice in the Senate. The first time, 38-0 to send it to the House. The House amended it the way they saw fit. The way that legislation happens is you go from one chamber to the next. The other chamber makes any changes that they see. They get together, they iron out those changes, and then it gets passed back in the original chamber with the changes. So it went unanimously. This is Senate Bill 43 from last year. Already passed. This is law. Already law. Passed the first time unanimously, 38-0 to go to the House. When it came back from the House, it passed unanimously. Again, 35-0. In the House, it passed with an overwhelming majority, 84-8 in the House, and signed into law by the governor on March 24th of 2025, less than a year ago. 10 months ago, this bill became law. And what this bill did is it unleashed the power and the innovation of the private sector to meet the driver's licensing need. It allowed third-party issuers to provide this fee that's being proposed in Senate Bill 7 with an upcharge that wasn't defined. It wasn't defined at $25 or any amount. Whatever the market allowed is what the issuer could charge. And the regulations for that and the application for it. Here's the application for it right here. It's applications TC 94207 is the application for third parties to apply to become an agent of the state. And any private business could do this right now in every county. So driver's licensing is already legal in every county of Kentucky. Now, it could be any private business. It could be AAA. It could be insurance agencies. It could be banks. It could be gas stations. It could be UPS stores. It could be Walmart, Kroger. Any of them could apply to be an agent of the state to do driver's licensing right now. Not July 1st of 2027. Now. The application's out. Apply with the Transportation Cabinet in every county. It's already legal. And it was passed unanimously last year, less than a year ago. What confuses me is if that was passed less than a year ago, has it been given an opportunity to work? Or if it hasn't been given, if it has been given an opportunity to work and has been deemed not workable, then why would it work for local governments? Those are the two questions I have. It seems like with the innovation and the efficiency of a capitalistic market, if anybody could do it with this arrangement, it would be the private sector. They could scale up. They could integrate it into already existing functions and services that they provide in their business. It would bring people in the door. It would, if it's a workable system. And that's the question that I've got. But Senate Bill 43 is already law. And a private company could start any day in every county. What I've heard in the last couple of weeks, what I've heard suggested is that improve what works with the current system. How come that's not being discussed? Why is it not being discussed that we improve and expand the pop-up program? And for those that aren't aware, the pop-up program is where the regional offices will go to each county. Each county, I'm going to read this directly from the drive.ky.gov website. Experience all the benefits of a driver's licensing regional office at a pop-up event. Counties without a KYTC driver's licensing regional office are guaranteed at least 2 pop-up visits each year. Residents who wish to walk in plan to arrive no earlier than 9. You can skip a trip to the regional office or a pop-up event by renewing online or by mail. And effective January 1st, a vision screening of last year, January 1st of last year, a vision screening will be required to renew a Kentucky driver's license. Pop-up events have all the benefits. It is a driver's licensing office, a regional office coming to your county. We have them in Marion County, and you can do everything. Where I was talking about, do you need to do this? Well, you have to go to a regional office. Do you need to do that? You have to go to a regional office. That doesn't happen at a pop-up. You show up, it's just like you show up at a regional office. The things that we can do, we would have to upcharge you. They don't upcharge you at a pop-up event. A pop-up event is just like a regional office. It's the equivalent of the bookmobile. The bookmobile is just like the public library, but it comes to you. Well, this is the driver's license mobile, and they set up upstairs when they come, and we get at least 2 of them a year. This year, Marion County will get them. They've already got the schedule out. It says we're guaranteed at least 2 pop-up visits a year. Guess how many we got scheduled? 2. On May 19th, I got some loved ones' birthdays right around there, and August 5th, another time I got loved ones' birthdays. So May 19th and August 5th will be the pop-ups for Marion County this year. What someone asked me this week or last week, how come they just don't expand that? We talked about how Senate Bill 7 would possibly create an office in 86 counties. The expense of 86 counties. There are 12 highway districts in the Transportation Cabinet. Transportation Cabinet has 12 highway districts. 12 divided by 120, that means there's an average of 10 counties per highway district. If they added a dedicated pop-up team to each highway district at an average of 10 counties per highway district and an average of 5 days a week, that means that dedicated pop-up team could be in every county at least every other week. That every other week, every 2 weeks, instead of twice a year, it'd be more like 2 or 3 times a month, you would have a regional office in every county. Not upcharging people, not sending people to a regional office, taking care of business for the expense of 12 setups. Instead of 86 setups, 12 setups. You would have a regional office in every county at least every other week. Someone asked me how come that wouldn't work, and I didn't have a good answer for them. I thought that sounds like a pretty workable. That would improve the system. That would improve what works. It would be not scrapping everything and starting over. It would not be offering limited and more expensive services. It would be offering full services for the same price most of the time. I didn't have a good answer for them why that wouldn't work. Seems like to me that would work that would be an improvement. That would be an improvement for the system. I've always said that if county clerks were going to get in the business of driver's licenses, that it would fundamentally change the function of our offices. That we would be taking on something that rivaled in scope to vehicle titling and registration. That it would require the staff to do it right. It would require the space to do it right. To do driver's licensing in the county clerk office, the county clerk would have to be a partner with the state, not an agent of the state. It would have to be a cooperative effort. It would have to be a 50-50 split. It would have to be, if we're going to provide the space and the staff, then we don't need to upcharge all of our constituents. Someone that lives in Holy Cross, 5 miles from the Nelson County line, 2 miles from the Nelson County line, shouldn't have to pay more than somebody that lives on the other side of the Nelson County line. Somebody that lives in Gravel Switch, 2 miles from the Boyle County line, shouldn't have to pay more than somebody that lives on the other side of that line. It's not a good arrangement. If it were, then private companies would be jumping into this business with both feet. If it made sense if it didn't offer a competitive disadvantage to these private companies, they'd be doing it. If it didn't, it does the constituents wrong. And the only way to offer driver's licensing locally is a full partnership. And that would be a fundamental change to the county clerk office that would take more than just a simple bill. So possibly improve what works. Enhance what you have. That's my thoughts about driver's licensing. That's driver's licensing the way I understand it. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. But we try our best to serve you, Marion Countyans, and to get you in and out of our office as quick and as inexpensive as we possibly can while getting what you need taken care of. And the bills that are currently being debated don't allow for that. So I meant to do this in about 15 minutes. I'm at 25 minutes. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If there's anything we can do for you, you know we're here for you. I'm here on a Sunday to discuss this because it's important. It's something we're getting a lot of questions about. It's something that it's a need. Like I said, I went to Danville to get mine done. I would have rather have done it across the street at the circuit clerk's office. But I also understand the reason why it had to happen like that and the challenges that the state face. It's not an easy issue to fix. This easy expand the pop-up program, there's probably more to it than what I'm letting on. I don't know. But I did want to get on record for the flaws I saw in all of the bills that are being introduced and the challenges that we would face if they passed. So I'm wishing you all a great night. I'm hoping that everybody's doing well and that we don't get any more snow. And if we do get some more snow, I'd very much appreciate the folks that are out on the road making it to where we can get on the road. And very much appreciate you all. I appreciate the first responders who respond. Rain, sleet, snow, wind, middle of the night. You all are amazing. And you Marion Countyans are amazing. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. I'm Chad Mattingly, your county clerk, wishing you a wonderful night.